Good morning and welcome to Schenectady today in and around the Capital Region. My name is Leo Quinn and I'm filling in for your usual host Ann Perillo, who couldn't join us today. She'll be able to tell you why she's not here tomorrow, or excuse me, this same time next week. As usual, Ann has lined up a terrific slate of guests for us. 100%, they were all disappointed to find me here when they got here today, but we're gonna make do. As Ann usually does, she gives you a rundown of what's going to be on the show today, and I'll do that for you. We have, behind me right now, we have Mike Lawrence, Dave Gleason, and Pete Sweeney from the Art Deco Trio. They're a jazz trio who will be performing for us at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show, which will be nice. Tracy Randall and Joanne Passanow from the Cash Coalition talking about our taxes, and our due date is coming up on April 17th this year, so we'll talk to them about that. Evelyn and Robert Keplinger will be here talking about cake decorating. Unfortunately, they didn't bring samples. Julia Banks from She's Awakened will be talking about the event she's got coming up. And Janice Walls from Proctor's will be talking about some of the events they've got coming up here at Proctor's. But we'll start first by talking with the Art Deco Trio. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I did not know this is how you would be dressed, or I would have dressed differently. It looks like I can play. I can do Take Me Home Country Roads on the piano, so if that is needed, I could fill in, but I don't think so. We've got Dave Gleason here, right? Dave, tell us, how did you get started in this group?
Well, Mike and I had started playing together in high school, actually. We were in the SEO Jazz Ensemble with the Empire State Youth Orchestra. And we went to separate high schools, but we started playing gigs together. New Year's Eve, first night in Albany, I believe was our first gig 20-something years ago. And then after college and some other musical experiences, we connected with Pete through playing in big bands and backing up combos and backing up saxophone players and trumpet players all along the Capital Region. And then we decided we need to form our own trio. So we've been doing that.
Okay, thanks. Dave, Mike, was that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, it was, okay. And how long have you been playing? What is this thing called?
This is the bass. I actually started on the cello in 4th grade in public school, and then switched to the bass when I was tall enough to play the bass.
Was the cello larger than you at that point?
No, but the bass was.
It
still is.
And what do you do when you're not doing this?
I teach public school in Schenectady.
Do you?
Oneida Middle School Orchestra.
Okay, so this is the week off for you.
Yeah.
Lucky. Okay, great, thanks. And Pete, you're the easiest name to remember because Pete Best was the first drummer for the Beatles. Most people don't know that. And you're a drummer.
Yes, yeah.
So how long have you been drumming?
Since I was 5.
Why did you choose drums after all the instruments you could choose?
Most enjoyable, actually.
Really?
Yeah, my brother's a drummer, so I got a drum set when I was 5 for Christmas.
Did the neighbors enjoy it?
Loved it.
They loved it.
Absolutely.
And what are you guys going to be playing for us today?
We're going to do a couple of original compositions. The first one is called the Shoe Shop Blues.
Shoe Shop Blues. Okay, take it away. Art Deco Trio. Thank you.
2, 1, 2, 3.
on, go right ahead. Hit it.
One, two, three, one.
right, the Art Deco Trio. Thanks very much, guys. We'll have them back on at the end of the show. Right now, we'll take a break and get the set ready for our next guests. All right.
Beavers build important habitat. A great variety of wildlife and plants largely depend on the industrious beaver to provide them with crucial wetland habitat. Beavers help people too, by providing cleaner water, reducing flash floods, and by helping to sustain healthy wildlife communities. An organization from upstate New York called Beavers, Wetlands, and Wildlife is dedicated to promoting an appreciation of the beaver and its habitat, and to conveying practical methods to solve beaver-human conflicts whenever and wherever they arise.
Beavers, Wetlands, and Wildlife is an educational nonprofit where we help people to learn about beavers and to solve problems when there are conflicts. So we try to look at the specific problem, whether it's flooded roads or tree cutting, and tell them how they can solve that particular problem so the beavers can remain, and the valuable wetlands the beavers create usually can remain also.
So Beavers, Wetlands, and Wildlife is an organization that solves beaver-human conflicts. We do it by phone, by fax, and by email. And we have a website, and a lot of people go to our website, beaversww.org, in order to get information.
And we are back. That was a video of some beaver dams. We're not really sure where those are. If you happen to know, let us know. We're joined now by Tracy Randall and Joanne Passanow from the Cash Coalition. And you are guests this time of year, once a month, I guess.
Yes, we are.
And Tracy, tell us why you're here today.
So we're here today to just give a few end-of-season tips. As we all know, the end of the season is coming. I'm smiling.
Me too.
Yeah. So we're both happy when it starts and happy when it ends. So the last day to file taxes this year is April 17th.
Okay.
Just due to the holiday and given the sites and the IRS time to get things together at the end of the season. So April 17th.
Is that a Tuesday this year?
It is a Tuesday this year.
Does that have something to do with a holiday in Massachusetts? Is that Patriots Day?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do? You're with the Cash Coalition. What do you do there?
So CASH stands for Creating Assets, Savings, and Hope. Okay. And basically what we do there is we try to build financial assets. We try to help individuals in our communities build financial independence. So through community-based agencies, religious organizations, the IRS partnership, the State of New York partnership, and through United Way, we all come together and we put our minds together and put our resources together to try to create opportunities for individuals in our community to have financial independence.
Okay. And Joanne, what do you do with the organization?
Well, this year and last year, I'm a volunteer with the organization. I do help prepare taxes with the organization.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was their Internal Revenue Service rep. As far as Tracy and I got to know each other very well because she would come to me about things and I would help her, guide her through training and stuff. But now I'm a volunteer, and I love it. I'm retired, and I just love it.
Did you work for the Internal Revenue Service?
Yes, for over 30 years.
Did you really?
Yes.
In what capacity?
Well, in a variety. I
Okay.
was a revenue officer. I was a tax specialist. I just loved the job because I loved helping people. And so the volunteer work is great because I go out and I meet all these people and they have issues and we do it for free. And it's great to get that information out to the public. And, you know, they come to us and Tracy does a great job. You know, she is very good. So
is the IRS the big bad bully that everybody says it is?
well, not anymore. You know, it used to be that way years ago, but now that we have the taxpayer bill of rights, and so everybody should be treated equally right now. So it's good.
And in my experience, like anything, if you treat the person with respect, they'll treat you with respect.
Right,
you know?
right.
You know,
And yes, and it's very rewarding. And then that sounds kind of strange coming from an ex-IRS employee. But I found that I helped people because they have nowhere to go, and it costs money at other areas.
Sure.
So thanks to Tracy and the Cash Coalition, I can help volunteering and get those people to the right areas.
Okay.
You know?
And Tracy, tell us the type of person you can help.
So we try to help everyone, although there are always rules to everything that you do. So our typical client makes below $54,000.
Okay.
We have 21 sites throughout the capital region in Schenectady, Schoharie, Saratoga, Rensselaer, Albany, Columbia, and Greene counties. The typical individual would come in, they would bring all of their income statements, and we would sit down and prepare their taxes for them. Again, they have to make below $54,000, and we can prepare Schedule A's, which means that you are able to itemize. We can help you with that. Most people think, oh, if it's income guideline, then I can't go in if I have housing interest or if I have a mortgage. But you absolutely can. If you make below $54,000, we are able to help you with those things.
What if you're a small business owner and have all those sort of deductions? Can you help that person?
We can help you with that as well. We do have volunteers who are certified to the advanced level who can help with small business expenses. They do need to be below $25,000.
The expenses do?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you have some tips there?
Yeah. Just a couple of quick tips. Pay attention to all the details. Look at your W-2s, look at your 1099s, make sure that your name is spelled correctly. We've had clients to come in, their name is misspelled, and then we file the return and the IRS says, this doesn't match the Social Security number, you know. So just make sure that you check the little details, the small details. Be aware of cybersecurity. We have very secure sites. We do use IRS certified software. But at the same time, when you're online, when you're checking, where's my refund, when you're going in, make sure that you know that you're at an IRS website and not some crazy website that someone is just trying to steal information, because the IRS requires that you put in what your refund was, what your Social Security number is. And so if you're on some crazy website and you're putting all that information in, somebody has access to your information. The other thing is also too, if you do know that you're going to be late filing your return this year, make sure that you file a form 4868.
4868, okay.
That's an extension, and you have until April 17th to file that form, and then after you file that form and it's been accepted, you have until October to file your return for this year without being considered late.
You still have to pay what you owe, though.
Yes, yes. If you owe, you still have to owe. If you don't owe, you will still get a refund, but you won't incur the penalties and the interest that comes with the late payment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a payment plan, I see that on there.
Yes.
I've done payment plans in my life, and they've been very easy to set up, nothing to be scared about. So if you can't pay what you owe, my experience has been very simple.
Absolutely. The IRS, as much as we try not to like them, they do give us options. So they give us the option for a payment plan, and they're very flexible. I've learned by working with our clients over the last few years that the IRS is very flexible with their payment plans. They try to work with you for you to pay what you can, And if you can't, they try to work with you with a number that they can live with, and that that you can pay. And you can pay on a monthly basis. You can pay every week. You can pay every couple of weeks. They work with you.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you need to, if you owe, don't just ignore it. Develop that payment plan with the IRS, and make sure that you don't incur extra penalties and late fees.
Joanne, do you have an opinion of those advertisements we see? If you owe more than $25,000 to the IRS, call us. And do you know anything about those?
No, not really. I would say contact the IRS, though. I think people, if they weren't afraid of the IRS, that's the biggest problem they overcome. And when they get in debt, I found that once they start getting in debt and they're not filing a tax return and stuff, then they seek help outside, but go to the IRS and see what they'll do for you. And they're not, if you answer their questions and if you are truthful with them, they're not bad. I mean, everybody.
They're just regular people. You know, you're going to be talking to people like Joanne when you call the IRS.
And it is. It's amazing that they will help you. I mean, if you take your time. I mean, there are bad eggs in any place or any business or whatever. But the majority are pretty good. And they have the Taxpayer Advocate's Office that if you feel you're being mistreated or they're not listening to you and you've done everything, you can contact the Taxpayer Advocate's Office and they advocate for the taxpayer.
And all the calls are recorded apparently, so make sure you note the number of the person who answers the phone, I guess.
Well,
how do we get in touch with you, Tracy?
So you can reach us through our website. It is getfreetaxprep.org. So www.getfreetaxprep, lots of short words, getfreetaxprep.org. You can reach us that way. You also can reach us at cashgreatercapitalregion.org. They lead you to the same website, but whichever one you can remember. Also, if you are comfortable doing your own taxes, myfreetaxes.com is a good website to go to where you can get it done. If you can't get into a site, although we have 21 sites, we are packed to capacity right now, especially this time of year. We do plan to offer a walk-in day on April 17th, which is tax day, from 8 to 8 at Catholic Charities. That's 40 North Main in Albany. But be forewarned that last year we had about 250 people show up. They were there at about 6:30 in the morning. Of course, we got to probably about 175 people, but we were maxed out. So if you're not able to get an appointment at one of our sites, by all means, go to myfreetaxes.com and you can prepare your own taxes. It's very easy to follow. It's interview style. They ask you a question, you answer it, you move to the next question. All the way through the end.
Sounds pretty easy. Well, thanks very much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
All animals are important in an ecosystem, in a natural community. But some are more important than others. Some are actually running the show because they create the habitat that others rely on for their survival. For example, beavers build dams that back up streams and create pond and wetland habitats. Almost half of the threatened and endangered species require wetland habitats for their survival at some point in their life cycle.
Beavers have unique physical attributes that allow them to alter their surroundings to create their own habitat. They are especially well adapted for life in the water. The beaver's streamlined shape allows it to glide through the water with ease. Beavers can dive and stay underwater for extended periods of time. While they work,
we're back, and right now we're joined by Evelyn and
or
Robert
collect
Keplinger
food.
with Treaty Beady Cakes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Tell us about Treaty Beady Cakes.
Well, I've always had a passion for cakes, always loved baking. I pretty much started when my kids were little, baking their birthday cakes and family events. And about 7 years ago, my family talked me into.
It's always the
He
way.
says, why don't you start your own business? So I listened to them and got a website and just started one by one baking cakes, and before I knew it, it was a full-fledged business.
Tell me how you came up with the name Treaty Beatty Cakes.
I knew you were going to ask that.
Wow.
Everyone does. Well, my son, we have a puggle, and my son, when the dog was little, he always used to say to the dog, "You want a treat?" Then he changed it to Treaty Beatty. So when I decided to start my business, I thought, well, what am I going to call it? So I just thought, oh, what the heck? I'll call it Treaty Beatty Cakes. And then later on, I added by Evelyn. So that's how it came about.
And what's your website?
It's Treaty Beatty Cakes by Evelyn.
Okay, that's a long one.
Yeah, it is.
Might want to get treatybeatty.com just
Yes.
in case. It's probably available. I don't
Right.
know. Now, Robert, you came billed as an assistant baker.
Yes.
Is it an official title, or are you just hanging around eating?
No, I do help. I do bake. I prepare things, get things ready for it. I don't decorate.
You don't decorate?
I don't decorate.
You're the official decorator?
I'm the official
Now,
decorator.
Ann showed me an article where you did a cake for 750 people?
I did. That was quite an
How long does
ordeal.
that take?
Well, probably a couple months planning and getting pieces ready for the cake, and then the day before I actually baked all the cakes and got everything decorated.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you have any official training on decorating, or just?
None whatsoever.
Really? Okay.
No, I just had such a love for it, and then after I got into the business more serious, I started really going and training all over with a lot of celebrity cake artists, and just wanted to learn everything I could.
Okay.
So
Now, I know you brought some pictures. Let's take a
I
look
did.
and let's see if we can explain what they are.
Okay. That one there, I got an email one time from Cake Central magazine, and they asked me if I would be willing to make a cake and be entered into this competition, and then if I was chosen, I would be in their magazine. So that's what this was, a geode cake.
Okay. What does geode mean?
Well, it's like the rock, you know, and you've got to make it
multifaceted.
Yes.
Okay. And what do we have here?
And this was a second-year competition. My first year I actually won, and the second year down in New York City, this I came in third. It's about 1,200 people.
What is it? Do we?
Well, it's just, it was fashion, for fashion.
Okay. Excellent. Do we have another one? Let's see. There we
And
go.
that here is the one I actually, my first year competing down in New York, I almost turned around on the way home. I mean, on the way there.
Yeah.
And my husband said, no, you got to go just for the experience. And I ended up winning. I was totally blown away.
That's an awesome
but
story.
It was a great feeling.
Perseverance.
Yeah, I guess so.
Is that a closer? Or is that a
And
different
this one here was for a wedding that I did.
Okay. Is that frosting there in the middle?
No,
there?
that's actually fondant. And
Okay.
it's you know, it's kind of a pliable thing that
And
you
it's
can
edible,
design.
though.
Yeah, all edible. Yep. And this here I did a fashion kind of look-alike for a picture that you probably can't see. It's in the corner there, but it was for the Ronald McDonald House in Saratoga.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that was a fashion event also.
Okay. Do you do a lot of fundraisers in the area?
I do. We hold one actually at Glenn Peters to help
Okay.
raise awareness for mental illness, and that's
Okay.
coming up in May 4th.
All right.
So anyone's welcome to come to
Yeah.
that. And this is the one for 750 people.
Okay.
It hung in a crystal swing. It was a beautiful couple and
Wow.
a great wedding.
It's got to be stressful.
Very stressful.
Getting it there.
That
and
was very stressful.
Driving it there.
Getting it in the swing. Yes.
In the swing. Okay.
And actually, this was a baby shower cake that I did for my doctor.
Okay. Yeah, as the cake decorator in the family, you're probably busy.
Yeah, yeah. And this actually, I did, it's what we call a dummy cake. It's made of styrofoam, and I did this for Glenn Peters windows.
Okay. Very good. And Robert, what did you do before you got into assistant cake baker?
Oh, just not very much. We had a dry cleaners for a long time.
Did you
and
really?
We sold it early,
Okay.
and I just piddled around for a while.
Okay,
And
all
she
right.
talked me into helping.
Well,
her.
there's worse jobs to be than an assistant cake baker.
Yeah, that's true.
Get
Right.
the mistakes and all that sort of stuff. Now, in reading the material, Ann says you have a goal. You have a big goal, a big, hairy, audacious goal, as they call it.
I do. I would love to have my own cake show and bring in guests from all over the world to teach the art of cake. I just love it.
A TV show.
TV show.
Uh-huh,
I would
okay.
love it.
Well, No, we got cameras here. Talk to Ann about that.
That's
and do you
right.
have a place that people can go, a retail location?
Well,
or?
I have a license that I was doing it from my home, but now it's gotten to the point where I'm going to go commercial. I have to get a commercial kitchen, so I'll be doing that probably very
Will you have a retail shop that people can go to?
No, it's by appointment only.
Okay, and the website is the best?
Best way to get a hold of me, my website or my cell.
Treaty Beatty Cakes by Evelyn.com.
TreatyBeattyCakes.com is actually the website.
Okay, perfect. And you had mentioned a Glen Peter event. Do you have any other events you want to publicize while you're here?
No, just that one right now. That's very dear to our hearts, and it's free to come, dinner, and we have raffles, a silent auction, so it's wonderful. May 4th, 5 o'clock or 5:30 to 7:30.
Is there information about that on your website, or was that maybe Glen Peter website?
No, Glen Peters.
The Glen Peter website?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Leah, for having us.
No, I appreciate it. I brought a napkin that I don't have to wear, but that's all right. No samples. Maybe next time.
Next time.
Sure. Thank you. Okay, we'll take a break.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
The features that work to the beaver's advantage in water become a hindrance to them on land. Out of the water, they appear awkward and slow. This makes them more vulnerable to predators, so beavers tend to limit the time they spend on land. An adult beaver can weigh 60 pounds. Their bulk helps to keep them insulated and warm. The tail of the beaver is broad, flat, and hairless. Most of it is covered by dark scale-like ridges of skin. The beaver uses its tail as a rudder to steer with as it swims. The beaver also uses its tail to slap the water. This often startling sound is an alarm call given to alert family members to a perceived threat.
That's right. And we're back, and we're joined now by Julia Banks. She's here with an organization she started called She's Awakened. Tell me about She's Awakened.
Well, She's Awakened is an organization that empowers women. And so what happened was some years ago, I had a desire to want to help women that lived in shelters. I myself lived in about 9 different shelters throughout the course of my life.
Wow.
And I think the struggle was that I was born in that kind of environment. As a child, we just went from shelter to shelter to shelter.
Okay.
So once I became an adult, I didn't know how to break that cycle. So because of that, once I finally was able to come out of that cycle, I wanted to do something to help other women and young girls that found themselves in that environment, so that they would know that there was a way out. They didn't have to stay in it, that there was hope. And so that's what I did. So I talked to my mom and some friends and kind of pulled them in and said, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to start going to homeless shelters and preparing breakfast, so we make a hot meal, and grits, bacon, eggs, toast, the whole 9 yards, and then have someone come in and do a motivational message to the women and stuff like that. Sometimes we give out gift bags as well. And we've been doing this since, I want to say, around 2008.
Okay.
And so when we did it then, we did it under another name called Women Advancing Through Motivation and Inspiration. And so maybe 2 years ago, we decided to go with a name change, and it has really worked out. And so we got branded, we got t-shirts, mugs, and we've hosted a few events. So 3 years ago, we started. Am I talking too much?
No.
3 years ago, we started an event called Breaking the Silence, where we talk about domestic violence, mental illness, and sexual abuse. And so we've done that. And so this year, we're going to do one in October, but it'll just be for domestic violence and sexual abuse, talking about the effects. Because I know a lot of people they know what domestic violence is, they know what sexual abuse is, but a lot of times we don't talk about how the victim, how their triggers. We don't talk about how it has affected them throughout their life. The abuse may have stopped, but the struggle is still there for the person that was victimized. And so this event is going to bring awareness to that, and that is on October 21st, and that's going to be held at the City Mission of Schenectady.
Okay. Are you still involved there on a regular basis, other than just special events? Do you still do the?
Yes, I was there this morning. I did a workshop, not a workshop. We did devotion this morning with the women. Okay. And so I love facilitating groups and talking with women. I love it. I feel like when I'm doing it something, I get a strength or something from somewhere else. Yeah. I enjoy doing that. And so also in August, I know I didn't put this in. Can I talk about that?
Talk about whatever you like.
Okay, so in August, we're going to host an event called, well, actually, I don't have the name set yet, but it's a award ceremony for men. So last year I did one for the women. And so this year we want to do one for the men, where we're giving awards to men in the community. So I'm about to put out a blast asking for people to nominate different men that do community work.
Oh, not host TV shows then.
No, you wouldn't get one. But you can get an invitation.
Okay. Well, tell us more about that.
Well, I want to, I have this desire to just want to be able to give back and to encourage people, celebrate them. I feel like when people feel appreciated, that helps them to do more and feel better about what it is that they're doing. And so I want to be able to do that for the men, because although this is an empowerment for women, I feel as though I can't really empower the women and not empower the men, you know, and not celebrate, not honor the men, because we need the men. And so this event helps us to be able to let the men know that we appreciate what they do. We see them and we appreciate them.
And you said you don't have a venue for that yet.
I don't have a venue. I'm working on that. The date we set was August the 18th, but so we're looking for the venue for that.
And are you from this area?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, we're based here in Schenectady, New York.
But I'm talking about you, your history.
Yes, I'm here. I came to Schenectady about 13 years ago. Okay. I believe it was from Newark, New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah, from Newark, New Jersey.
You came to the cold weather.
I did. Upstate is a little different.
That's a whole nother show, folks. We'll talk about that some other time. Well, how do people get in touch with you?
I do have a website called She's Awakened. They can see me. They can come check me out on the website as well as on Facebook, and I'm on Instagram as well, but it's She's Awakened across the board. Or they can look up Julia J. Banks. I'm online. I'm on all of those social media outlets as well.
And can they get your mugs and T-shirts and all that on your website?
Yes.
And how do you what do you do when you're not involved with She's Awakened? Is this your full-time gig?
It's not my full time. I also am. I work at the City Mission.
Oh, okay.
I work at the City Mission. I'm a spiritual counselor there for the men and the women that's in the Bridges to Freedom program. I'm the spiritual counselor there for the men and women.
Okay. How long have you done that?
I've been there for about maybe 6 years now.
Okay. There's an organization in Albany, and you probably know who they are. I'm not sure who it is offhand, but they have a store on Amazon that allows people to go in and send razors to the thing in Albany. So I go into Amazon and I can donate they list what they need, and then people go in and buy that, and it gets shipped right from Amazon to the mission. I think it's in Albany. Have you heard of anything like that?
No, I haven't.
I'll send you some information on that.
Okay, that'd be great.
It's a different way for people to donate. Rather than just sending money, they can actually send physical items.
That would be great, because now in August, once we for the event, what the plan is to take a portion of the proceeds and donate it to an organization here in Schenectady.
And on your website, can people find out how to donate to you?
Yes.
There's a link for that and everything? Because that's what you like, ideally.
Of course.
When you come to things like that. Okay, so give me your website one more time.
www.shesawakened.com.
And you're on all the social media platforms under that.
Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you for joining me. It was pretty painless, right?
Yes, it wasn't that bad.
Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, we'll take a break and we'll be joined by Janice Walls from Proctor's. All right, pretty.
Very different tail. One that is obviously thinner. And unlike the beaver, the muskrat uses its tail to aid its propulsion through the water. The beaver has 5 digits on each front paw. These fingers are very dexterous. Though they have no opposable thumb, the hand's outside digits serve a similar purpose, and they allow the beaver a tight grasp. Their fingers, with long claws, give the beaver the ability to build and to excavate. They use their front paws to carry mud to the dam, where it is used like a
And we are back, and right now we're joined by Janice Walls. She's with the Proctor's Historical Committee. She also works behind the scenes here on Schenectady Today, and she's out from behind the camera and on the set. Welcome. Yes. Good morning. You brought 3 hats today.
Good morning. I actually brought 3 hats.
Here to talk.
This is actually a Bolden hoot, and it reminds me of the Octavo Singers Concert, which is coming up April 21st. And the reason it reminds me of that is that we're going to be singing for a Requiem. We're going to be singing Pulant Gloria, which is glorious. And then we're doing the Mass of the Children, which is by Rudder. And we're being joined by the Capital District Youth Chorale, which is directed by Diane Warner. And that is April 21st at Proctor's, here at Proctor's. And it's going to be a 3-ring circus with all the different music and everything, and it's at 7:30. And gosh, the tickets are at Proctor's. Okay?
Proctors.org, right?
Yes, and you just go to the box office. So that's one of the many hats that I do. I sing with Proctor's. Now, when I was on Ann's show earlier, because I come on once a month to talk about Proctor's. Another hat that I wear is for the Friends of the Library. And we've just completed the Beat the Snow concert series. So for January, February, March, we had local musicians come and play a free concert. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to, number one, thank all of the local artists who participated, everyone from musicians of Malwick, Schenectady Light Opera, the Village Singers of Colony. So all of these singers came to the library, the McChesney Room, and they gave a free concert. So if you are a local artist and you like to perform or do perform for people, you can contact me, and through the library, you can leave a note there, or you can contact me directly. And in September is when I start to set up the program for 3 months of free concerts. But I wanted to say thank you for all the people who came and all the people who were in the audience. And my last hat, of course, is for a Proctor's Historical Committee. Now, I just think it's a riot, because I've been talking on Ann's show now for probably 4 years about the fact that there is a museum on the 2nd floor of Proctor's. And people go, what? There is? Even now, you know? And so when I said, you know, I think I'll mention the mural that is in Proctor's, people go, what? There's a mural there? And there's a huge mural. And it is on the lower level, although you've got a great view if you are on the 2nd floor of Proctor's and you go by the railing. When you look out, you are looking at a mural created by August Lundberg. He was a Danish artist, and when he came over, he was trained in the Danish School of Art. And when he came over, he ended up in Columbus, Ohio for a while. And he developed an artist colony there, and their first art gallery, and some of his works are there, and that is still going there.
Wow.
But somehow he gained fame as a mural painter, and so when F.F. Proctor was building his wonderful theater in 1926, he brought in August to do a mural, just as he brought in a very, very, very famous architect, Thomas Lamb, to do the architect here.
Okay.
And Thomas Lamb, again, very famous at the time. And what's so interesting is that both August Lundberg and F.F. Proctor died within just a little over 2 years after Proctor's was completed.
Wow. Okay.
This was the jewel in the crown for F.F. Proctor's,
Okay.
and it's one of the last big works that August had.
Right, right.
Now, when we're speaking of the mural, it is in a sepia tone, and that is your browns.
Okay.
So it's nothing that jumps out at you. But in doing some study of it, a member of our committee was trying to analyze what did it represent. And probably it's an allegory for the arts, because you have dancers, you have musicians, and you have people that look like they're reading something. So, but I would encourage people to look on the first level. If you're going to the restrooms at the far end, look up on the wall, and there is a large mural. If you are on the second floor, coming out of either door,
We have a shot of it here.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. And so, and you can see the railing and someone looking. And so again, and here you have some of the different panels
I see.
representing, again, the arts in their allegory kind of form. And it is a beautiful thing, and it's very, very good shape.
Has it ever been touched up or anything like that?
Not that I know of, and not that I have heard anything about.
Okay.
Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, again, we come to the theater and you're all excited, find your seat, you're all excited about the program. And again, I encourage people to look at the theater.
Right.
It is exquisite, all the plaster work that is there. And as some of you have seen over the last few years, we've had people come in over the summer. So you come in September and it's like, whoa, you got to put on your sunglasses because it is so sparkly and beautiful and restored. And a lot of it originally was gold leaf.
Wow.
And if you've ever worked with it, it's very, very thin. You wear gloves and you kind of poke it in, and it's very expensive. So now what they do is use a combination of bronze and zinc.
Okay.
And the bronze will give you that golden color. And they call it metal leaf.
Okay.
And that's our latest iteration was that. And again, it looks pretty much like gold leaf, but much less expensive.
Okay.
But there's all kinds of different styles of plaster work. And of course, as I've mentioned before, and Ann and I have talked about, our columns are not solid marble, because if they were, the building would probably collapse with all that weight.
Yeah.
But again, they are that plaster working with the string of color that they pull through, and then polish, 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 and polish to make them look as if they're marble. And once you know that they are not marble, when you go into other places, then you start going over and you want to tap it and see, does it feel cold like marble, you know? But that was one of the techniques that they used in such gorgeous theaters as ours.
In the 20s, yes.
Yes.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good. Well, thank you for proctors.org.
Yes.
It's a fascinating place with a lot of fun things going on. You've got William Shatner here tomorrow night, is that right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
All kinds of fun things.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
We'll close the show with the Art Deco Trio in just a moment. We'll be right back.
They use their back feet for grooming. Grooming is highly important, as well as they use the 5-finger front paws for grooming, and their teeth. but they have split nails. You can see this particular claw or nail is split, and that's very important in the grooming procedure. The most distinctive feature of the beaver skull is, of course, these 4 orange incisors. These have chisel edges, and when the beaver grinds his teeth or chews, the outer enamel is stronger than the inner dentine, so it maintains a very sharp edge. When you look at a living beaver, usually you don't see the teeth at all because their lips cover it, or you might see the lower teeth if their mouth is open. Behind the teeth, there's this large space where there are folds of skin, and these close when the beaver's in the water so they can chew off a branch and not get water in their throat. They also have valves in their ears, which would be back here, to prevent water from going in their ears. Their eyes, here's a large eye socket, there's like a transparent membrane that goes over their eyes when they're in the water so their eyes are not harmed. Behind the incisors, beavers have rows of molars, upper and lowers, which are used in grinding hard objects they might be eating.
As with the beaver's ears, their nose, too, is protected by specialized inner flaps that close when the beaver is underwater. The beaver's nose is a highly sensitive organ, and with it the beaver can sniff out distant food sources, as well as detect the presence of predators or other beavers. With food close at hand, the beaver's incisors enable them to snip off
branches. And we're back,
branches.
and before I let the Art Deco trio close the show, I'd like to just tell you what's going to be happening next week when Ann will be back. She'll have some people on talking about the Confetti Stage's King Lear, opening on April 27th. We'll have a couple guests on talking about a domestic violence event happening on April 27th. Empty bowls at Union College will be talked about. We'll be talking about the 7th Annual Gospel Jubilee. That's happening on April 20th. We'll have some representatives from MySci, the museum here in Schenectady, and we'll finally have some representatives from the Schenectady Senior Center. So to Ann, thank you for letting me host today. Everybody else for watching, I hope you've had an enjoyable time, and tune in next week and Ann will be back. And right now we'll let the Art Deco trio take it away. Thanks, guys.